All right, here we are, Super Bowl 60, and I am right beside Jonathan Jones, CBS Sports. Someone who used to be at CBS Sports left us, Matt Ryan.
Thank you for putting it that way, Jonathan.
Well, I mean,
I did.
Just
I
a fact.
did, yes.
For a much better job as president of football. I want to start first with the title because I believe that you are the first ever president of football, and it reminds me of that in the Social Network when Justin Timberlake comes back and he's like, the Facebook, like drop just Facebook.
Yes,
like
Facebook.
It's not president of football operations, it's just president of football. Did you come up with that?
No, I did not. That's an Arthur Blank title right there. And it's kind of great because, the operations piece I've got to learn, right?
Yeah.
And got a lot to learn there. But that was Arthur's call. And, I think when he laid out what he wanted this position to look like, it really is, just the things that touch the grass and overseeing some of those things for him and his family. And so it's a cool title, though. I do like the title that there's no operations in there.
There you go. It looks good on a business card, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Matt, when you are considering this job, when you ultimately take this job, I know you and I know that you have a humility about you and there's a humbleness of, I know what I know.
Yeah.
And I know what I don't know.
Correct.
And I'm going to find out also what I don't know.
Yes.
Who all do you talk to? What sort of feedback are you getting in your research process? Because I know that you want to succeed in this job.
Yeah.
And there's also a chance that you fail in this job because it's a job that you have no idea what you're taking on.
Correct.
How do you figure out what you're taking on?
Well, I think it's a great question because, I think playing as long as I did, and playing the position that I did, I think you are, especially as I got older as a player, you were drawn into more conversations with a head coach, with a general manager about different things that were coming up. So I felt like, I've got the player's perspective on how to operate, but now my job is sort of on the other side of, overseeing some of those things. Short answer, felt more comfortable on the coaching side, I think because that was the world I lived in, as a player.
You know what a good coach looks and sounds like.
Exactly, and organization, attention to detail, what scheme looks like. I think it was more challenging, and it's going to be more challenging on the front office side. But I think learning, from having Rustin Webster as a part of our search committee, I cannot underscore how important that was and just how great he was for our entire search group, but for me specifically of, hey, let's dive into what are the things that we need to look for, what are the most important qualities that we're looking for from a general manager candidate. I think that was huge, so having a really good support system around me. Now it's like, okay, now I've got to go back into, and I've got so many different things to learn. Time spent up in New York with the league, finding out about different avenues to connect to up there. Who are the counterparts up at the league office that we can work with as different situations come up? How can I best serve our head coach? How can I best serve the general manager in areas where, they might need help? I think all of that stuff is fluid. So the day-to-day for me, I think, is a lot of figuring out where I can be best used at different times, but also finding out, in a lot of ways, how the league works.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because I think, in listening to your press conferences and seeing sort of this org chart, if you will, it's, okay, I'm here to hire the head coach. You hire the head coach. It's a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year in Kevin Stefanski, who, this is me speaking, sometimes it's time to part ways. It was time to part ways in Cleveland. You get a fantastic coach going to Atlanta.
Yep.
You get, in my opinion, the next guy up at general manager in Ian Cunningham, who probably should have been a general manager 2 years ago, 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And now you get him in Atlanta, right?
We're happy he wasn't, and
Right.
still available because you mentioned it. Ian's ready to go.
So then the question is, and I know you've gotten this question, I say it halfway jokingly, but truly, what is your job after that?
Yeah, it's like, what would you say you do here?
Yeah, love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It looks like this, jumping back into next week, we're starting our draft meetings. And me being the fly in the wall, or the fly on the wall of sitting there and, okay, let's evaluate how our process for the draft is going and what that looks like, learning some of our grading scale and how we go through the grading scale. Giving a player's perspective, which I think is a little bit different, from some scouts, which I think we'll be healthy. I think then, working with the coaching staff, like the last 2 weeks, it's mainly been the hiring process the last couple of weeks. But the last 2 weeks, in addition to doing the GM search, it's helping Kev with putting together that coaching staff and sitting in on different meetings that we're going through, whether it's coordinator positions or position coaches, and really listening, but him every once in a while firing off a question of, Matt, how do you see this? What are you thinking here? So it's helping with that. It's taking some of the things off Ian's plate of reporting structures that are underneath him, of whether that be equipment or whether that be logistics or travel. There's a lot that falls under a general manager's plate, and to be able to help and take some of that workload off so Ian can remain focused on all of the work that he has to do between now and combine and free agency and the draft, and then even after that, an evaluation of everything that we're doing during that May and June period. That's where I help. I come in and can take some of that burden off of them.
You're a former quarterback, a fantastic one, and you get asked the other day at a press conference about Michael Penix Jr., and he's coming off the ACL and the surgery. Who knows? God willing, he's ready for week 1, and we all hope the recovery goes well. And you say, I'm leaving that up to Kevin. That's coach's decision. A day later, Michael Penix Jr. posts a very long Instagram caption that does appear to be responding almost directly to what some took as a lack of a vote of confidence in the young quarterback. What is your response to that?
I love Mike. I mean, if you listen to the entirety of the quote, I think it's very clear. Like, I'm high on Michael Penix. I have been, for a long time. His ability to throw the football, his ability to layer the football, to drive it to all different parts of the field. I think Mike's awesome. I think he's done a great job with his rehab. What I'm making clear is I'm not the head coach of the football team, and I know, what my role is and what my role is not. Kevin's responsibility is to be the head coach of the football team, and he's going to let you know who our starters are and who our starters are not. It's not my place to go in there. So, understanding that role that I'm stepping into, I get it, right? Things turn into, conversation points, and I've lived that world. I've been on it from the media side as well. But I believe in clear lines of communication and not stepping on what the coach's responsibilities are. And the same will be true for Ian as well.
Yeah.
Where he has to make decisions about what we're going to do with our roster. That's in his job title. That is in his responsibility and his role. My job is to support those two and then keep us on the path that we all agreed to from the beginning.
So there are going to be people who are watching this, and I'm going to be honest, there's part of me who says, Matt Ryan gets this job as president of football, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and he's not going to have some say or some sway over who the Atlanta Falcons quarterback is? I don't buy that. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
You will, I mean, you have to have some input.
Of course my input will be there, but at the end of the day, it's the head coach's responsibility to let you know when the time is right, who's going to be our starting quarterback. That is more of what I'm saying. Of course, my input with Kevin, working collaboratively with Kevin, everybody's input is going to be in there. That's what goes into making a decision. But ultimately, the decision is going to be Kevin's.
Okay. How far away is this organization from being here at a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to get in first. I mean, that is, I'm not that smart, but I do know you've got to be in the playoffs to have an opportunity to make a run at a Super Bowl. Close last year, for sure. Ian has said it in his press conference, the cupboard's not bare.
Yep.
There's good players in our building. We've got a lot of talented players, Pro Bowlers, Bijan Robinson, Chris Lindstrom, really good players. So there's pieces. I think we've got to add depth like everybody. We've got to clean some things up and try and improve as a roster. Same goes for the coaching staff, right? Like, how much better can we be there? But how far away? I think we were close last year. I think we can be in the mix, this coming year. But the idea is to, try and win now, but also make decisions that are going to allow us to win for a long time, which everybody says. And I know that's, coach speak or front office speak, 101. But it really is the goal, right? It's to be as successful next year as we can be, but also to not make decisions that are going to deter us from being successful for a long time.
So, because you're the primary football executive, the first two names, as you're saying that pop into my mind are, well, the Falcons didn't do anything with Drake May and his contract this past year.
Drake London.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Drake London. Yeah,
I like
here we
Drake
are.
May.
Yeah.
Yes, I like Drake May. That's okay.
Drake London, and then Kirk Cousins. There was a tweak to his deal that is very easy to interpret as he's going to be a free agent come mid-March if nothing else changes. What say you about those two?
Yeah, I think number one, those are meetings that as we get back, and Kevin and Ian are back in the facility working through some of that stuff now. I think our thought process was let's do a deep evaluation of our own roster, where we're at between scouting and coaching, because we got new parts. You talk about the offensive side of the ball, both those players on the offensive side of the ball, new coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball, new front office, and some scout holdover, but new GM. So those guys are working this week on our evaluation of the roster. I'll talk with those guys later this afternoon. Next week is kind of the beginning of our draft meetings. That plan, is post-combine, being really clear about where we are post-combine. Love Drake London, really, really solid player, physical, great ball skills, the kind of attitude that you want. Kirk is a decision we all need to get together on and make, because that's some of those decisions that you're talking about. What does the future look like? Where do we go? Where do we go as an organization moving forward? That's one we've got to consider, but it's also at the same time what is best for next season. So we'll weigh all those options. We'll have those discussions, but as you get into the calendar, it, right? Those decisions will be made post combine and pre-free agency.
And we will give you all of those decisions, the whys, the hows. What the hell was Matt Ryan thinking?
That's right.
On CBS Sports HQ. Matt Ryan, I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, JJ.